I've been doing a lot with overcoming fears and doing things that I felt like I was afraid of, but I wanted to do, and just doing it. And with that has come some lessons in forgiveness and compassion have come with that. But I feel like it's a good thing, and I have been. I noticed it was like a little bit harder for me to meditate tonight because I feel like I have been kind of like a little bit tense with all the excitement of all that going on. But it's still a good thing. Kind of reminded me that I should make time to meditate more often because it was like this isn't as easy as it should be.
What Sue said, I did the same thing this past weekend, maybe a week ago. And I meditated on it and came up with a feeling that if it's something that I feel I should do, then it must be right. And it just came out like that.
Yeah.
And I started doing that.
Awesome.
I do it more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes. It could be brighter than me about me.
Yes.
That's
it. Perfect. I was going to talk about forgiveness tonight, and I see two people mentioned it already, so that'll work. I want to just look again, though, at our basic perspective, or whatever we want to call it, with this idea of awakening with self-awareness and mindfulness. And we're all very familiar with our human person, which is strongly associated with this body, and we have a very strong habit of thinking, this is me. And just as powerfully, and actually more powerfully as we explore it, there's an aspect of us which just exists. I call it being. You can call it spirit, soul, whatever. And it's not something we need to get or even develop. We've just been ignoring it for eons as a culture, and for however long individually in this lifetime. But to begin to remember that, there's a part in me, a way I am, it just likes being peaceful and happy. It really doesn't give much of a crap about anything. Yet, in a moment, it's always helpful because it's interacting in joy and love. So it's not detached from the world around me, but it's not either anchored by guilt or beliefs or obligations of the humankind. And as we wake up, we become aware of the dichotomy between these two major parts of ourself. And then we learn how to use the saner, more stable, peaceful, happy self to actually direct our human person so it becomes a lot more sane and happy and nicer and all of that. So we're always just looking within to the old basic, who am I? What am I? And, I give a couple simple ideas to start with is, okay, I know I have a hand. And actually, if I just sit and feel it, that's a very good practice. What am I aware of there? But anyway, beyond that, I also know I'm not my hand. If something should happen to it, I'd still be me. I might be a little bummed out, but I'd still be me. And likewise, I can chop off the rest of my body parts, and I'm still me. And so without getting too gruesome in it, we can get in there and say, who am I before the body? Just the me that's just here, that's just happy. Where'd that idea come from? And I can be aware that I think things, and they often are totally contradictory and in opposition to each other and confusing and all of that, and guilty or self-righteous. And I can be aware of all that. Who's me that's aware that I think all these different things? And the same for feelings. Who's me that's aware today, yeah, I'm all happy and excited, or I'm pissed today, or I'm just so heavy feeling, or whatever. Who's aware of that? And it's actually through very simple practices of beginning to pay attention to who I am beyond the body and personality, that I just naturally grow in awareness. And after you get some experience with these in yourself, you realize, oh, this is what the Tao was talking about. This is what Buddha was talking about. This is what that guy Jesus was talking about. And yet it's just me. And so, to me, it's a very comforting thing for myself, and a very lovely thing to have to offer to other people that you just like, and you see somebody and you just feel yourself light up for them, and it's like, I just want you to know who you are. I don't want you to be any particular way, to change it up anyway, get rid of, add to. I just want you to know who you are, because when we're spending time connected in a moment like that, we both feel awesome, and we both are happy, and then we do peaceful and gooder things in the world, and it gets happier around us, and it's like a positive snowballing effect just by choosing to remember who I am as this pure being that's just enjoying its adventure. And here we go. I'm me, whatever that is. I got this vehicle to tool around here in. I got these things I like and don't like to kind of steer between the billion of options in this world. Cool. Why don't I just be me and just enjoy it? So, always bringing it back to that idea of I want to know who I am. And if you touch it, you'll know without a doubt that's a good thing. If you haven't touched it yet, I will offer as a little help. When you touch who you are, it will be a good thing. There is no way to go inside and you're going to feel yourself and then feel like, boy, I'm really a schmuck and what a wasted life I've had. That is not the me that you're going to find in there. The ego will tell you don't look, because that's what it proposes about us a lot of the time. But when you touch who you really are, it's just good, for no reason at all. And that is home base. And then we just develop practices of remembering it, returning to it, and then learning how to use it in active living. Part of that is a growing awareness of what I call finer happiness. I want to focus on this a few minutes too, because our person derives happiness from outer things. A good meal, a good movie, whatever, and that's fine. This is not against all of that. But our being is happy, and from that happy, it does happy things. It doesn't need something out there to get happier. But yet, it can go do the exact same thing our person would and actually get more happy out of it because it's not trying to get something from it. Well, it takes a while for us to let ourselves shift to this inner peace that just is satisfied and happy pretty much all the time. And it's like, yeah, it would be more convenient if that 4 foot of snow out there was gone, but you know what? It is what it is. It's not going to make me unhappy. And the person says, oh, no, you can't do that. There's all these things in life that you have to be unhappy about. And then there's all these other things that'll make you happy, and you've got to go get them. So we're learning to drop listening to that insistence of what I am, what I need, what I have to have externally in order to be happy or to feel okay about myself. And that, too, is an ongoing process. And I like to say, find a bookmark and plan it. A time when you were hanging out with a friend and it just was so simple and sweet. And all you did was just whatever, talked about whatever. Maybe you were at the beach, maybe you were at a barbecue, maybe you're playing with a puppy or watching the sunset. I mean, there's these times we've had when we were just good and the moment was good. And although there were those fun things going on, if you collect a couple of those memories out of there, you'll see it didn't matter which of the fun things it was. I was just in a good space, so the experience was good. Okay, well, how about if we now take that and set a goal and say, I want everything I do, all day long, every day, to be done in that good space. I want going to work to feel like the sunset on the peninsula. I want dealing with my kids to feel like playing with puppies. And you can't get there with mental imagining. You'll go insane very quick because there's no way to imagine that being possible. But you can learn to just stop right this moment and say, wait, but I can just feel good right now. And this is, kind of the Eckhart Tolle kind of teaching. It's very powerful. Why aren't I happy right now? Whoa, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I got a whole list of reasons. Oh, they're all just a choice. They're all optional. Well, no, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they are. Not that I'm telling you that you should believe me, or not that it's God's will or something else, but if I want to be happy, I eventually come to the realization I got to quit inventing reasons to be unhappy. In fact, I don't have to do anything to be happy. I just need to quit being miserable. Oh, well, that's ridiculous. All right, up comes the argument for misery already. And, you could talk about this, I suppose, for hours, but it's really very, very simple. If we become willing to accept there's a part in us that knows how to live this life happily, in a peaceful, inner, happy kind of way, and it can get up and live outward and bring happy or peace to every situation, why not go to work every day and just, cool, here I am. I'm just here being happy. People around me are drawn to hang around because they soak up the peace and happy from me. And it doesn't cost me anything. I can still focus on my work. I can still do whatever. We can do that with anything. Our challenge is to find a place inside ourselves that says that's reasonable, and I'm going to begin doing that. It's not hard to get to. It's not a belief. It's just a simple practice of, okay, just a minute. I'm just here, sitting on this chair, whatever, driving in this amazing traffic. Look at the way all those people drive. It's a wonder any of them are still alive. Okay, here I am, just enjoying the show. What's wrong with that? Oh, I'm at peace. And that's it. It's all in that split second, the now, the moment, 1,000, 10,000 times a day. It's not dealing with work. It's not dealing with the bills or kids or the traffic or my retirement or whatever my brain is proposing. It's just now. Okay, I got bills to pay. Yes, when I get home, I'll look them over and see what can be done today. That's all we need for now. Look at that sunset. Look at those trees. Hey, it just feels good to be me. That's a habit we grow. That is self-awareness in its most very basic personal form. And everything else is just a more complicated way to get to that because our brain loves complication. And it won't just believe it can be that simple. It's that easy. So we have the whole Course in Miracles that's thousands of pages long, and all of Christianity and all of Buddhism and Islam on all these ways to get to heaven or nirvana. They all boil down to this one thing. That's all there is. Just me right now. I can either be me happy or be me miserable. Can't be that simple. Well, let it talk to you from inside of there. Part of you remembers. You know, you get those moments. We all get them. Maybe it's just waking up in the morning. Maybe it's flopping in the chair at night. And something in you just kind of melts out and says, it just shouldn't be this way. It just should be so much simpler and easier and peaceful and happy. Do you know that place? You felt it at times. And many times people are so caught in their rat race, they just squish it back down when it tries to, I don't dare imagine life being like that, or I would just, burn out all the circuits compared to the life of crazy I got going now. But it's in that it wants to rise up to the top. And all we got to do is say, okay, show me how. How could it be that way? Show me. And now we're starting to listen to our real aspect, our higher self, if you want to call it that, and letting it get us out of the habit of crazy and misery we've been in for maybe a whole lifetime. But all we got to do is want it. This is my summary of that. And dare to believe that it won't cost you too much to consider that obvious delusion of being happy in this crazy world long enough to just say, show me. How could life just be that calm and happy? And your process has begun.
I think for me, a lot of it is reminding myself that these things that I feel are important don't really matter that much, and it's kind of like just reminding myself of that, and the things that I feel passionate about. Yeah, I can feel passionate about that as long as I keep that in like a happy thing. And then when I start to feel like, it has to be this way or it has to be that way, then I have to stop and say, no, it doesn't. It's okay. It doesn't really matter that much. So I feel that's an important key to remind myself.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to produce the results in specifics that our brain tends to want to. Exactly. I have to succeed at that. I have to hold a new group down at the square, and it's going to change everybody in Erie too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, my passion is I want to do that. I'm going to go have fun and light up the place because I like being the light.
Yeah.
And we'll see what it does.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I kind of relate that to it's a word that describes that particular desire for an outcome. It's if you Google it, I'm not sure what it'll say. And Alexa, she might, God bless her, who knows what she but noose, when I was maybe 3 or 4, my mother would say, what do you have in your noose? Because she would, I see you running out the door or whatever. What do you have in your noose? Not, she knew I was going to go do something bad. And something was that, I'm not allowed to do. And she knew that when she asked me, I'm just going to go outside and play. No, you're thinking of something else. Mm-hmm. And that's what you have in your noose. And I took it as, basically lying and telling the truth. And then later on, after Mom passed away, I was like, noose, a little bit deeper now. It was, what do you have deep down inside? What is your actual reaction, Andrew, to anything and everything? And that's your basics. That's what, you can't change that. It's not something you want to change. It's all your goodness. It's all your kindness. It's all of the wonderful things that's ever happened to you, all in your noose. And so then it's related to spirit. And I found that I can renew it, recharge it every day by doing something that Shakespeare would do, Chaucer would do, and set the stage. You can't have a play without setting the stage. And I would set the stage, but if I was feeling kind of funky or kind of blue or melancholy, what do I need to set the stage for just better? A cup of coffee, wash my face, a different shirt. It could be any small, tiny thing to set the stage so it's a better day.
Cool.
And that's how I felt about what you said. That's what came to me. And noose was the word. And, when she said it to me, like I said, folks, at first I thought it was like, what are you trying to sneak? And then I figured it out later on. It's actually what you're completely open. Yeah. That's your open book, is your noose. And let me just put some entity may know about it. Yeah. Okay, well. Is that good? Yeah. Hey, cool. That's beautiful. That's a very good practice on this. Because those little things you mentioned, like you say, just get up, wash your face. It activates our choice. Like, no, I feel my funk that wants to be funky. I want to have a good day. Okay. And that choice, okay, I'll just get up and wash my face and start with that, is you've made an active choice. And that's the power in those little tiny things that sound like really stupid practices if you write them out on a website. Oh, come on, change your shirt. No, it's the decision that you activate that, no, I'm going to do something alive, happy, invigorated, and you actually get up and do it. And then when you're done with that, oh yeah, I could eat something now. Now I'm up and moving, the day takes off. And it's a very fundamental part of choosing. This whole stuff is not about believing it. It's using it, acting it, living it. So thank you.
And putting that intention into it.
Yeah.
Like this, this is something that feels good. This is going to help.
Yeah. That's important. That's important.
I've been feeling a lot of comfort in just like doing things from a place of calmness, and like in the past, it's been from a place of fear, like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do it now because it needs done, and I can't forget, and all this panic mode. But it's funny, like I've had a lot of strange things happen to me in the past year physically, but like I have hives, and so I'm itching over here. But like, it's funny how it happened because I was really pissed about it at first and frustrated and whatever, but then I realized that it actually is taking me to a place of, because it's brought on by stress, so I have to calm myself to get rid of them. Yeah. And every day, it's a really good practice. Very good. Every day I'm like, that pisses me out, and then I'm like, no, you gotta stay calm. Yep. But it's like, it's everything, it's like it's retraining my brain. Yeah. The past week I've been like, I feel like growing in leaps and bounds just because of the hives, because I'm like, okay, what can I do? I need to go to work later, no big deal. I check my schedule. I know when I gotta work, but like, okay, let's put that aside. What can I do in a place and still get things done, but in a place of, do everything coming from a place of peace.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah.
and I'm itchy, but I don't care.
Yeah, right.
Could you imagine if you broke a bone or something?
Right. Yeah.
If somebody would have told you that was possible 2 years ago.
Yeah. That would have been really negative.
I was. Well, just saying.
Well, self-care, I think, ties into self-awareness.
Mhm.
You're caring for yourself, wondering what's causing this.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
you work out those peripheral issues. Turns out it's 1,000 little dumb things.
Yeah.
Instead of
Exactly.
one big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
Very
the knots that I get myself into are totally me, even though I will say, oh, I'm a victim of this person, or that person, or this situation. It's like I'm choosing to be that victim every single time.
Not anymore.
No.
No.
I mean, some days.
Yeah.
And then I remember.
Just for fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I do want to look at forgiveness a moment more here. So, it only makes sense if you've touched who you really are as this being that likes, I just call it being in love. I want to just look at anybody, you, and just feel that open connection, which you could call soul to soul, but it's much simpler than that. It's just, I like you, I like me, I like you, glad we're here. That's the state of love or being. And forgiveness then is becoming aware of any stuff I keep in my mind that I won't let myself do that. Forgiveness is dropping my grievance. It's all it is. It's not about the other person ever at all, or the situation. It's whatever happened, I made a grievance about it, and now every time I think of it, I'm going to be pissed about that, or I'm going to be afraid because of that. And I have built this thing, like a big chunk of concrete that sits in my mind somewhere in the unconscious. And then everything that reminds me of that, it comes back up. It's like, oh, I was having such a good day to I thought about, or they said, or blah, blah. Forgiveness is being willing to drop my grievances. Our being of love in us, our higher awareness, can literally change our mind. We programmed our human mind unconsciously by reacting out of fear, crazy stuff the world taught us that we accepted in unawareness, and we've built this kind of, it's a garbage pile. It isn't all interlinked in any same way. It's like, no, I think this about that, and I feel this about that, and oh, I don't know what happens if they're both there at the same time, because short circuit. Well, we build all of it unconsciously. And the part of the mind that thinks about things cannot change itself. It can come to a little awareness, oh, here I am, I'm thinking of this, and this is the way I think about it. Yeah, that's so. And then you'll feel, if it's a grievance, there'll be another deeper part that comes up and says, and that's true. That is so. That's how it is. You should be pissed. And you can kind of see that, too, with a little more awareness. But when you remember your reference point of being, and it's like, wait, I want to be in that place of actually liking that. Oh, you got to be kidding me. That's way too stupid. Like them? No. Okay, so eventually Ram Dass called it the one-on-ones, where you start out with, if you can't want to be at peace, then you can want to be at peace. And you back that up as far as you need to go. But it just requires setting a little insight, I could be happy right now. I could be at peace. No. Yeah, I could. Show me. And you let it go to work, and it's going to undo that grievance that we've constructed, cast in cement and submerged in there. And I know it's real and I know it's right because I've been getting it out every day for 35 years and it's still just as true as it was then and that. That's how we maintain them, is by getting them out and feeding them a little bit now and then, letting our emotions get all upset over them, saying it should never have happened, that's just wrong, that should not have happened. Where's my peace? And I got to see that doing that, holding grievances, is the number one thing in my mind that destroys my peace. It's combined with judgment. They're really two parts of the same device. A grievance is just a judgment I've already made and locked on to. So, forgiveness is realizing I would rather be in a state of peace about this topic or that memory or this situation or that person than feeling this grievance. And if you can just keep bringing it back to that awareness, be kind to yourself. We build all these things for self-defense at some time. We're not attacking ourselves. But it doesn't mean we can't see now they got built incorrectly and they're not useful and build something new and better instead. So you see what your mind is so insistent on, and it's got emotions packed in there too, and duct tape to it, so that it really gets us going when it comes up. But to just say, man, it would sure be nice if I could be at peace instead of feeling and thinking all that all the time. Show me. And that's where we open to our higher awareness and let it begin to transform our mind. And it can, it does, it will. But I need to make that choice because every time I have fed my grievance, I made a choice. I wanted to be there. And I've given a little bit of energy food with, yeah, that still pisses me off. Yeah, they shouldn't have done that. And again, see, the whole practice in forgiveness is on becoming aware. I could be happy. I could be at peace. Oh, I could be looking at any person or in any situation and, it's like our spirit or this being is like so curious. It can go anywhere and do anything. It can ride the bus or go to the store or whatever. And it's just like, what's going on here? It's like this fascination with life. This state of peace is not sedated and dull whatsoever. But I want to be in that, where I'm in that state of vibrant being, which is love. And darn it, this thing keeps jumping up in my mind. Can you see clearly the difference between wanting to forgive them for what they did and saying, I see I've built a grievance, I want my grievance removed? It doesn't matter what they did. And, right there you'll feel the bite. If you try to say it doesn't matter what they did, oh, yes it does. Well, that's all part of the defenses of our human that likes living life as a struggle and miserably. We need to learn to look at them with just simple clarity and say, yep, I see, I really believe that. I really want to keep that in my person. Oh, I just want to be so pissed at them. Yeah? Can I rather be at peace? Can I want to be at peace? And just explore. Just play around. You're bringing awareness. And awareness goes out to the infinite, to, if you want to call it God or whatever source of help and power there is, it comes through our awareness. What a very radical thing, that I don't have to wait for the world to change and get all healed and peaceful and better for me to be at peace and bring peace to it everywhere I go. Why don't I just do that? Because, in fact, that's the only thing that's ever going to change this world. There's no impending miracle where somebody's going to come down out of the sky with a super zapper and make people be nice. But when we enter our state of being, which is the state of Namaste, when we know who I am, I look and I know who you are as this wonderful being. I just want to feel that happy little spark between us. That's the state of Namaste. When I offer that, it wakes it up in another person. They begin to remember it themselves. They may not instantly acknowledge it or change their life, but all day long as I go around and I just meet somebody's eye passing on the street or talk on the phone with that feeling, they're being reminded they could be living in that space. And everyone, as I said, has it. There's nobody that doesn't have their higher aspect. They forgot, like I forgot at times for a while, a long time. Forgot real bad. But that's how we are going to change this world with peace. Or, people talk about the love of God. Well, that's it. God's already love. We're not going to get any more of that. What it needs is a channel to flow through here. And I'm life. That is creation or spirit. I don't need fancy ideas. Just if I'm aware I exist and I'm me and I can be happy and I can watch it light up somebody else when I connect with them that way, what else do I need? It answers what I need, it answers what the world needs, and it's a lot more fun way to spend the day than some other ways I used to do. So I'll pose it as a little practice for this week. Besides just in general musing on, can I really remember to just want to be happy and peaceful and okay feeling all the time? That's good to muse on once in a while. Every 10 or 15 seconds is good throughout the day. But beyond that, then, can I be willing to see what unforgiveness or resentment or a grievance is in my mind? And can I be willing to acknowledge I would actually be better off without that? If I spent a half hour just sitting being happy, listening to some song on the phone or whatever I'm doing, wouldn't that be a better half hour than sitting there inside my mind, missing everything in the world around me, feeding my grievance? Muse on that on purpose. Explore that, what your mind is offering for its way of living, and try to remember your state of being that just wants to dance happy, and look at where you pick one or the other, or don't pick. You let them just happen, or just explore that space for awareness this week. And you might be surprised. You're a lot brighter, and there's a lot more good ideas in there than you may have thought there are. And they'll just start dancing out of there all over the place. Okay, that's good for me. So thank you, guys. Just for you newer to the group people, we do a healing time after this where you can either just say a meditation, somebody will do Reiki on you if you want, or you can dance around the room, I don't care. And or you can just leave if you've had enough. So I'm just kind of outlining, because now we just kind of open it up to share thoughts and ideas for a little bit and then move into that healing time. So.
Well, you sure gave me a lot of thoughts. Can I say something?
You can.
I thought about what you were saying about the forgiveness, and giving forgiveness or forgiving, and then getting forgiveness. And then I thought about a time where I actually wrote an apology. And a friend of mine asked me, he's like, why are you doing that? I said, I'll let you know when I'm done. And I thought about what he asked, and I'm like, well, why am I doing that? I'm like, am I looking for forgiveness? Do I want somebody to, say it's okay, don't worry about it? Because that's like the first thing that people that are seeking forgiveness, sometimes they become addicted to that. Oh, it's okay, you busted my windshield or whatever, by leaning on it and it's freezing temperature. But no, instead, are you looking for forgiveness? And then are you willing to give? And the next thing came to mind, is like I realized as I was writing down my apology, I'm sorry. I was like, well, wait a minute. But you did this. Right? And so then I'm like, wow, I got more ammunition than they got. This is great. There's no way I can never be beat. And then I'm like, wait a minute. This is what they're doing.
Yeah.
The other person is doing the exact same thing. They're going like, forgive him. Yeah. No. But the next thing you know, you realize that I did, anyways, is I could do that with many, many different things and start to become automatic. This didn't just happen yesterday. This happened a long time ago. And immediately I was like, wow. As it was doing it automatically, I found myself in less and less and less positions to ever need to forgive again. That's because I immediately thought about the other person doing the opposite.
Yeah.
And even, a cop pulling you over,
Yep.
To what, constipated. Maybe he didn't get laid last night. Who knows? He's got reasons, maybe I did do wrong, So when it gets to me, I'm pretty calm. And next, you're pretty calm for getting pulled over by the cops. And it's like, yeah, I figured you didn't get laid last night. Yeah. So next thing you know, it's a different situation than.
Yeah.
And do you see how?
Oh yeah.
Like you just said, you told us that that's how it goes. It makes for a better day, better, and you don't have to worry about. You have to worry about those nanoseconds. They add up. And I appreciate you had a nice meeting here, and I'm glad it came because it solidified some things. Of course, that one there has been there for a long time, and I find that people, when I do walk into a place where I'm known, there's the ones that go like, oh, there's the ones that go like, wow, cool, because I'm hard to take sometimes.
You're wonderful.
But that's because of what you said.
Yep. But again, you highlighted it just perfect. And what I heard you say was you realized if you don't start building those grievances in the first place, there's nothing to forgive. It's only after you've built them, then you got to let go of them again. And so you recognize, oh yeah, my mind wants to, never mind, it's just them being them. Yeah. And you don't build them. So that was a very good share for that. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, so I have a question, or maybe, well, I don't know what it is. I guess maybe it's more of a statement. I get so confused by the word forgiveness, and then when you say grievance, the word grievance is easier for me to use if I'm going to own it as my own grievance.
Yeah.
But then forgiveness, the word forgiveness to me is like saying I was a victim of something and I need to forgive this person for making me a victim. So if I'm never a victim, why do I ever use the word forgiveness?
Right.
I guess I don't understand.
That's why I teach it up this way. I hear so many people throw that word around like, oh, I got to do a lot of prayer work so I can forgive them. No, that's not what you need to do.
Yeah.
You need to get into awareness and find out why you want to hold on to that grievance.
Right, okay.
So that's what you're catching exactly what I wanted to readjust tonight. There is no such thing as forgiveness in the classical Christian sense.
Right. Because I guess I was sitting here wanting to object, thinking, well, you also living in this world should not allow yourself to be beat up by someone.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And absolutely should remove yourself from a situation where you're continuing to be beat up.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's awareness.
And then
clarity.
I forgive myself for
You
Putting
let
myself in that situation?
Yes.
Okay.
You quit judging yourself and beating yourself up. Let go of the grievance against you.
Gotcha.
You're awesome. That's enough.
Thanks.
Diane?
I was just going to say, I think that that's a problem. It's one of the things that I used to teach in my women's group is that forgiveness is not necessary. We have such a misconstruction of what forgiveness really is.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is not for the other person, it's entirely for yourself. So you need forgiveness not because that person did something to you. You need forgiveness to unhook yourself. If you can think of it as that grievance has me hooked to that person, and if you want to let it go, that's what forgiveness is.
Yes.
Unhooking from that person,
Yeah.
and then letting yourself be okay with that.
Cool.
And, we did lessons on what real forgiveness is. And
Yeah.
that is what it boils down to. The other person doesn't even have to know you did it.
No.
There's plenty of people that I have had to unhook from and let go of my grievance in order to heal myself, and they have no clue, and
Right.
they don't even feel that they've done anything.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of that. I mean, I had actually today, I don't know if you saw it, one from the SRCA Survivors Group.
No. I don't even think I'm in that group anymore.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything like that. It was kind of started as a joke. It's people from the Christian school that she used to go to and I used to work at that survived.
Okay.
All of us who are no longer there and have survived stories.
Okay.
But then it started to devolve. It was funny at first, and then they started really getting angry and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm not interested in stirring up 25-year-old problems. And today, someone said, well, the Star Beacon newspaper in Ashtabula did this big write-up on the 50th anniversary of the pastor being at the church, and she was angry, and she was ranting and raving, and she wrote the letters to the editor, and they're going to send out a reporter and all this, and I'm reading this, and all I could think of is, I feel sad for you.
Yeah.
I had some of those same experiences that she's still hanging on to and still angry about, and she doesn't see that it's wounding her.
Yeah.
And
Believe me, I had intentions to burn that place down.
Yeah.
I was going to go there and I was going to torch that place.
Yeah.
Because of all the abuse and all the,
it was pretty bad.
What would that have really?
It
They
was-
built a bigger and a stronger church
Yeah.
school with even more.
Don't feed the
Yeah.
grievance.
Let it go.
Yeah, and I think that it might be helpful if there are, this church is still going on, and there might be people that don't, know that there's abuse going on, that for her to write that and bring awareness to that might be helpful.
Yeah.
But if she can emotionally disconnect herself and unhook herself from that and be like, I want to put this out there so that people know, but I'm not going to let myself be torn apart by this and held down by this.
That's exactly, and that was the thing that I'm reading this, and I'm feeling bad for her in a way, because it was like, it just really didn't affect me, but I didn't have a judgment of her either. It was, if that's what you feel you must do, and you're coming at it from a good place, whatever her intention is, I don't know, then go ahead. It doesn't affect me one way or the other.
And sometimes that can help people to process their anger by expressing it, and then forgiveness, because sometimes people can't just go straight to forgiveness. They need to get pissed first, and then they can get to the forgiveness after that.
Oh, yeah?
So,
Sounds right. Have a second social media site just so you can do that. That's
a venting group.
Because you have your own site, and that's for fun and everything and friends. And then if you had a second one, because, for instance, like Jess said, we got this school that's, who knows what the hell they're doing over there. But now you have a second site. Go on Twitter and say, did you know? You know what I mean? And you're just this person that's not connected. It's not going to come back on you or your children or your family. It's just put it out there. Believe it or not, it's on the internet. You see? And that would make you feel better, I'm sure.
But more and more as we do become stable in ourselves, we can just address things right up front immediately. And you just put it out there,
True.
just
True.
plain and simple. Like, this is what's going on, this is what happened, period. But there's this weird thing in the human culture of hiding
Right.
Yeah.
weird stuff. And I don't get that. You know, it's...
You're right. In
Yeah, it's
'67, it was like taboo to say cancer. You know, I'm from '67 until about 80-something. I thought my grandfather died of Coca-Cola of the leg. Right, right. No, because he had a soda fountain, and of course, you know, Greek guy, and can't say cancer.
Wow.
What's Grandpa got? Well, it's because of Coca-Cola.
Oh.
And so he died of Coca-Cola of the leg.
Yeah.
Yes. That you can't say cancer.
That's a
and the taboos. And they spread into everything, Tim. You know that.
So why don't we just say what's what? You know, and you learn you get a lot more free that way. And you do say.
Yes.
You don't need to get angry even. I mean, you just blurb out what is clear right in the moment.
Well, yeah, and that is another thing that I always encouraged was say it. And I had a lot of people vent on me, which was fine. I said, I'm a safe person, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Put their face right here and yell
Yeah.
at me. Don't hit me, but
Yeah.
Doesn't that wear on you? Doesn't that wear on you personally when people do that? Kind of burn you out a little bit?
Well, it could, but I did not take their pain home with me.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be able to detach from
Yeah.
what they're going through. I, you know, you can be compassionate, but it doesn't mean you have to be enmeshed.
Yeah.
You know, so I could listen to it. It's harder with family
Right.
because
You want to strangle.
you want to kill them.
And you
Put it the way it is. I won't even tell you what Gary says. But, you know, but with other people, it was easier for them to do that with me because I was safe and I could represent that person for them. And I had some intense moments with a lot of people. I almost had a state cop run me over in the parking lot because he was really pissed about something I said, you know. But and then 2 years later, you know, we laughed about it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because I said, well, yeah, I was a little scared, but you know, you're okay. I'm okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. You know. But yeah, I think we pretend a whole lot, and it bothers me in spiritual circles when we pretend everything is always good, and that we come in here and that life is always wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it just fucking ain't.
Yeah.
But as you practice, as Tim said, going within and finding that peace and letting it go, you're able to then let it go more quickly and in the moment, and you don't have to stay there.
Right.
But we're having this experience and we have emotions for a reason. Emotions tell us what needs to be looked at.
Yep.
So look at it, okay? And if it's me having a grievance over something you did, I need to take care of it.
Yeah.
And if they have a grievance and I can't fix it no matter what I do, I could stand on my head in the corner and
Yeah.
recite 50 Hail Marys and you'll still be mad at me, then it's not my problem.
Yeah.
You know? So you have to, and that was a bigger one for me, was letting myself off the hook for
Their
what
grievance.
other people
Yeah.
are angry at me about that I have no control over.
And getting back to that thing about the secrets, people holding on to secrets, you know, I think that there tends to be a lot of shame, like especially in situations of abuse. If someone's being abused, often that causes them to feel ashamed of themselves.
Oh,
and that can be a reason why they don't speak out about it. And I think that letting go of that shame is really super key.
Yeah. No, you're right. And just though when you said that, I was kind of thinking in that direction that if you just said clearly what was what there, it might give others the little nudge to get over the edge and quit accepting it because of this shame and stuff. That, and it'd be like, well, no, they see that too. This is insane. I ain't going to do this anymore. You know, just because we speak clearly and address what's what, without judgment, just, no, that's what's going on, it looses quite a power in the world.
Yeah, I think you'll find in a certain segment of, when you're working with a certain set of end facts, and you're in a certain setting, you may run into this a particular story that you feel you've heard before, and believe it or not, you probably have. It's probably, and you can hear the outline, and you're trying to be compassionate and empathetic, and you immediately you go to the conclusion, and if that's the case where it's ongoing and there's ongoing abuse or torture or torment, and you jump to the end, you're going to be the least amount of believable, because how the hell could you know? It's like, but then that's what I found a lot from listening, that I can get the outline, and because of that certain segment I'm working with, you see, and it's so hard to just say, like, don't go to the end.
Yeah, you got to listen to the inner guidance. It'll give us awareness like that of what's going on, but then you have to ask it to guide how to deliver it usefully.
Right.
Because you're right. Sometimes if you just said something out, and if just came in and said, well, I'm getting beat up every day at home, and and
I'd say Burton's is a good place. Real cheap funerals. No, really, they'll bury you exactly 6 feet. They don't play around. Okay, so I'm sorry.
But if I respond with an attack on, whoever's beating her up, and then everybody else is like, well, no, they're not like that, and and all that kind of stuff comes into play. But if you just wait, you understand, you see what's going on, you feel pretty clear in the energy, but then you just connect with the person, and I just say, show me how to be useful because of that. You can't always jump right to the end because of the other persons involved. But it will never keep me from eventually putting it out there either. It's not like I'm going to hide it as a secret.
Good.
I'm just waiting until it's time to deliver it. So,
10 years of working with women in groups, average of 20 women in a group, maybe 4 groups a week, heck of a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I heard the same stories.
Yep.
I could have plugged the story into.
Yeah, there's only 3 of them.
Yeah. Basically 3 stories.
Yeah.
But you can't. It's only one story to them.
Yeah.
So you would listen to it many times, over and over and over again. But like Tim said, it was always with me. It was always, what will reach this person? Some people you had to be strong with and just say, look, stop it. And then there were other people that you had to be very gentle with because they were so crushed, And what Susie said is correct. A lot of childhood abuse, especially sexual, will lead to the child feels guilty. And there's all these psychological reasons why. But guilt that's unresolved. Yeah. Guilt is something you can take care of. If I am guilty of scratching your car, and I go over to you and I say, I scratched your car, I'm sorry, get it painted, I'll pay for it. Guilt is resolved then. But unresolved guilt becomes shame after about 72 hours. And now it's part of me. I'm a terrible person. I did something to their car. Now it's about who I am, not about what I did to your car. So they internalize that shame. And that's why they won't tell anybody. And a child has an incomplete understanding of what has happened to them, and they feel guilty. So you have to really ask Spirit how to help that person.
Yeah.
It's different for every one of them.
Well, I think we'll put on some music. Anybody that wants to chill a little longer and just let the good soak through.